This week, the talk of the town is all the prospects in this year's Senior Bowl. And of course, there's two guys that I really would love the Arizona Cardinals to potentially go after. Let's go and talk about all the things that I've seen so far about guys that could be potential fits heading into the 2025 season. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. And a huge shout out here to Roundtable Sports. They are actually on the ground and covering everything Senior Bowl. So if you guys haven't followed them on X or Twitter or even on YouTube, make sure you go and check them out. Hopefully next year, I'm going to be able to go to the Senior Bowl and all these other things. It's just, I was supposed to go this year, and unfortunately, just the way that things worked out didn't work out here on my personal life. So I'm going to be much better to plan it out better, and hopefully I'll be boots on the ground next year in the Senior Bowl as well. All right, everybody, let's go and dive right into it. Let's talk about two guys that I would really love the Arizona Cardinals to target in this year's 2025 NFL Draft. Now, if you guys didn't watch my most recent mock draft 1.0, I got a lot of flack from that first round pick, not getting a defensive lineman. I ended up getting an O-lineman, and people seem to have a problem with that specific O-lineman because of an injury concern that he's had, but I don't know. I'm going to stick to my guns. I feel like whoever falls to the Cardinals, is as long as it's trenches, I get why there's Cardinal fans that want us to lean towards the defensive side of the ball, and I'm right there with you as well. Right now, when I am doing mock drafts, 85%, I'm going to go defensive lineman. Right now, yes, that mock draft 1.0, I did something different, but we're going to continue to do mock drafts moving forward. But in my mock draft, I ended up getting two guys that are in the Senior Bowl this year that have completely raised up their stock their stock in the NFL draft. And I really want to talk about these two guys because I would love the Cardinals to potentially go after one of them, right? Definitely. So let's first talk about Mike Green, where in this specific mock draft on this PFF simulator, he fell to the lap of the Cardinals in the second round. That's not going to happen anyway. No, it is not going to happen. He's probably going to fall somewhere in the realm of maybe first round or maybe an early second round pick. Definitely not where the Cardinals are at, like mid second round. That's probably not going to happen. What he did in the Senior Bowl this year was enough for him to just go home, right? He's not attending Thursday or Friday, so he's going home and continuing to, prep for the draft, right? Combine, all that different stuff. So there was a report that came out here saying that, he doesn't need to check any more boxes because he's done what he needed to for teams to say, okay, that seems to be potentially a first round or maybe an early second round pick. So Mike Green looked very, very well in this year's Senior Bowl. His last year of college, he had 38 solo tackles, 17 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles. You heard that correct. 17 sacks out of Marshall. Absolutely a freak of nature. 6'4", 248 pounds. I want to see what he does in the combine. See what he does in the obviously the 40. And all the other drills that they do in the combine, but this guy is going to be special. He's going to be a really, really good young piece of the Cardinals potentially go after him. Right now, can we get him at the 16th overall spot? Yeah, I definitely think that he's probably going to be there, but it does give the Cardinals some room if they do want to trade back to accumulate some more draft picks. And I'm not talking about trade out of the first round, maybe trade somewhere in the 20s, maybe accumulate another third round, something like that. But I love the idea of Mike Green coming to the Arizona Cardinals. There is a video floating around, a highlight of Mike Green in this year's Senior Bowl, and he absolutely completely obliterates the offensive lineman that he's having a one-on-one with, right? It's the amount of speed and power that you're seeing, right, throughout this whole Senior Bowl reps, right, with the whole media credential, but the people that are able to see it during this time is absolutely amazing. Like, draft stock up for sure for him. He looks like a really good prospect. I'm really excited about him, and hopefully he's having a good career in the NFL. If he doesn't land at the Cardinals, if he goes somewhere else, it would hurt, but I understand. As long as the Cardinals go trenches in the first round, I feel like that would definitely benefit the future of the Cardinals. Of course, 85%, I am saying defensive line, whether that's the interior or the edge. I know there's some people out there that favor Mykel Williams over for example, Mike Green, and I'm cool with that as well, as long as the Cardinals address those big needs out there, right? But what a massive underrated guy, or at least 2 weeks ago underrated guy, not underrated anymore, because there's a lot of teams that are really high on Mike Green. So curious to figure out where he's going to go, but hopefully, fingers crossed, he is going to be a Cardinal. Now, next guy that I had on my mock draft as well, it's literally just the next round of the third round. He also had a really good Senior Bowl as well. Now, I kind of got a little flack from this pick as well. There's some Cardinal fans out there saying that the first 3 picks should be trenches, or the first 3 picks should be defensive linemen, and they had a little bit of an issue with me going wide receiver. Now, keep in mind that this is mock draft 1.0 before we are heading into free agency, right? So we're just kind of looking at the prospects that we like, but man, with what Tez Johnson out of Oregon has done so far in this year's Senior Bowl, just the highlights that you're seeing, the twitchiness, the speed, the way he breaks out of routes, the way he creates separation, it almost feels like this is kind of the missing piece for the Cardinals' offensive side of the ball with that wide receiving core. Right now, we love Greg Dortch. Everybody loves Greg Dortch, but maybe it's time to get somebody that's just a little taller that we can use in the slot. And what we're seeing here from Tez Johnson is really pretty darn special. Now, granted, he's not 6 foot, he's 5'10" right now, but Greg Dortch is 5'7", so there's about 3 inches of wiggle room there. But Tez Johnson, what you're seeing on tape in the Senior Bowl is something that, like I said before, we feel like is that missing piece. So overall, man, I feel like if the Cardinals do get a wide receiver, whether it's in free agency or the draft, you can't go wrong with that, because I love Michael Wilson as much as the next guy, and obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be our wide receiver number 1. He still has a couple different traits that he needs to develop, and I don't think there's any surprise or shock there, but Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. are kind of one and the same wide receiver. I think it's time to get somebody different, right? A guy that's going to be more twitchy, a guy that's going to be able to be used in the slot, that's going to be able to cause separation, a guy that's going to be able to, move the chains, right? Or spread the field out with just his playmaking ability or his route running ability. And I think Tez Johnson can be that guy. Now, there's a couple different reports coming out amongst the Senior Bowl saying things like he's the best wide receiver in attendance and he's burning DBs left and right. Like, I kid you not. Like, when I did my mock draft, this was before any of these reports came out. So the idea of getting Tez Johnson in the 3rd round, if he falls, he can very well be there, because there's some guys out there. Obviously, you got your Emeka Ibuka, you got your Luther Burton, you got McMillan out of Arizona, and then you got Jaden Higgins, I believe. He ended up getting really good draft stock as well. Like, it's pretty high right now. But I don't think the Cardinals are going to go that route. If they do wait in the 3rd round, this might be a guy that falls. He comes out of Oregon, not the biggest school out there when you're talking about championship type of school, but a very respectable school, right? Definitely a respectable school. So I like it. I like him a lot, man. I really do like him a lot. He can definitely very well be a burner for the Cardinals if we move him onto the slot position. Now, of course, there's a lot of other players in the Senior Bowl that has done good things, and their stock has rised up very well. I've been following very closely my guys here at Roundtable Sports that are boots on the ground and covering everything they possibly can, looking at different prospects, because they got their own agendas as well, right? They are fans of specific teams, but just kind of been following there, and what we're seeing here on X/Twitter is short from remarkable, man. I like what I've seen from Tez Johnson. I like what I've seen from Mike Green. I feel like if the Cardinals added any of those 2 guys, they would be an upgrade from what we currently have in that specific role. Tez Johnson in the slot, and of course the edge rushing core with Mike Green. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts? Have you been keeping a close eye on this year's Senior Bowl practices and obviously all the clips that's been floating around the internet? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals.
Oh my goodness gracious!